So here we are, week 2 of the Royal Cork Yacht Club Autumn Series. This is week 2 for us filming. We're doing this on behalf of the club, on behalf of North Sales and on behalf of ICRA. We had a fantastic week last week, some great footage which we're going to debrief in the club later on. Today a different day, we've got plenty of breeze, southwesterly, forecast could be up to as much as 25 knots. We've got an ebbing tide, which will make it quite challenging, I think, on the water today. Start is about 10 minutes away, so we'll be back to you with that, and we look forward to seeing how the day unfolds. So here we have Anne-Marie, Dennis, Molly and the team on near Largo, just having a little pre-start look at things. I'd like to suggest that it's going to be a bit windy for that jib when they get out of the harbour, but right now they've got their code 1.5 3DI #1 jib. Trim looks lovely. That is one very, very pretty boat. Jump Juice a little unfortunate. I think they're going to get a prize 2 weeks running now because they've managed to hook the pin end and cause a little bit of chaos here, and the start's been abandoned for Class 0. Seconds to go here. This is race 3 in the Autumn League, week 2. Very breezy. There's the 1 minute gun. It's quite a lot of breeze. It's the coastal race today. There's 26 miles. So although the start is important, I'll be very careful not to be over the line here. 50 seconds to go. Got Jump Juice and Freya, Connor Doyle locked together. And we've got Tom Roach and Meridian coming in a little bit behind, but plenty of speed on. It's a question of whether he's got room to maneuver when the time comes. So 30 seconds to go. 29, 28. Connor needs to be rolling here. 26. The boat should not be stopped at 23 seconds to go when it's 50 feet long. 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Come on, Connor, get rolling. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Gun. Keep filming, James. Okay, they're all clear. A little bit of power on there, Margaret, just so we don't become part of the start line. No, that's beautiful work. Really nicely done. Connor Doyle seems to have a bit of a problem with his jib sheet. He's not trimmed on. Meridian got a lovely start. Lots of speed on. All 3 boats bow to bow off the line. Not sure what's happening with Connor. He's still not trimmed on. They really gave away an opportunity there. It was a massive opportunity to steam off down the line, get that boat fully wound up to speed. Instead, when the gun went, they were practically stationary. So focus on Connor Doyle here now, the X50. I'm not sure what happened there, but the guy's got a pretty ropey start. They're actually stationary at the gun. Looks like it need a lot more backstay. Mainsail's quite full off the mast, so I'd be piling on the backstay now. Jump Juice here, nicely up and clear. A little bit too much heel on Freya. Just tickle the bow up, take some of that heel off, and the boat will be more comfortable. Should be able to outpoint Meridian there, although Meridian did get a really beautiful start. So this is going to be interesting. I think, well, let's see. The X50 now starting to get a little bit of a wiggle on. Not sure if the guys are going to be able to clear the point or not. So we need to start thinking about just backing up a little bit so they're clear to tack. Just keep filming away, James. And I'm going to move downstairs. Okay, let's slow down now, Margaret. Just slow down and let them sail away. That'd be lovely. That was great. Okay, so we're still filming. Beautiful start, as we say, from Meridian. So now Connor's starting to get his bow up. He's getting the squeeze on Jump, and Jump's going for the tack. So we'll just see how nicely they manage that. A little bit slow with the jib coming in. Okay, Connor's following. He was slightly compromised by Meridian. And for the 2nd week running, Meridian got a cracking start. Well done, Tom Roach. Race 3, classes 1 and 2. The breeze is up. It's the coastal race, as I said earlier. I think the pin is the place to start. Looking at class 0, the pin was a really good place to start. So we've got George Radley setting himself up nicely here for the pin. They need to make up for last week. Last week their starting was poor. So let's see how they get on this week. 30 seconds to go. They're mad late and they're not going to lay from there. They're really in trouble. 25, 24, 23, nobody anywhere near the line. 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11. This is a shocking example of how not to start. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, gun. Now that is an embarrassment, lads. Come on. Nobody's crossed the line yet. 6, 7 seconds, 8 seconds, 9 seconds, 10 seconds. Still nobody's over. Nilago is going to break the line first. And Nilago is over. They've started. Excellent. Here we go. George Radley has just fouled Whiplash. Stay on them here. And now George Radley is fouling Paul Tingle. George, that is a very, very bad thing a very bad way to start. Anyway, let's look at Miss Whiplash. The lads did a great start there. Shuffle over, James, so you can stay on them. Okay, James, keep filming away, and I'll go down. Margaret, just accelerate and turn slightly left. Just turn slightly left now. Maybe we'll do a left. Yeah, that's good there. Hold there and just sort of parallel. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah. Yeah, it's absolute chaos behind. Just stay as with them as you can. Okay, so here we go. That was a shocking start. Shuffle across, James, so you can get in the full frame. Shocking start there by class 1 and 2. Nobody on the line. But Nilago got the best start of all. They're trimmed on and they're trucking. This should be their day today. There's plenty of breeze, long race. Jelly Baby 2, I think that's Jelly Baby on their number 3. Should be on the furler, so the clue's pretty low. But looking like a pretty reasonable pace on. Kian Jones on the helm, looking nicely in control there. He's in a good position. He'll have no problem when he wants to tack. Very gusty, really gusty conditions. Let's focus on Nilago now, James. Just round to the right a little bit. Beautiful trim. That boat just loves these conditions. They're going to really enjoy their day. So this is the Artful Dodger from Kinsale. Guys had a good day last week. It's flying there, actually they're flying their Olympic sails by Owen Amani from Kinsale. I wanted to give him a mention because there was a bit of a claim that they were using another brand from last week. But pretty clear to me, Olympic sails. Okay, here comes Dan Buckley. Dan's back on the helm this week with Justice. Really interesting, actually. If we just pan a little bit to the right, James, you'll see Miss Whiplash. I mean, they absolutely flew off the line. Nice one, Ronan. That was a very tricky start. I'm not sure if the wind flicked left off the line or it was just a complete misjudgment by the whole fleet, but really, it's like back to school for class 1 and 2 for starting. If classes 3 and 4 can do better than 1 and 2. The 1 and 2 start was really bad. Let's try and move forward. Margaret, only 33 seconds to go. Okay, here comes Raffles. He's lined up a little bit better than last week. Last week he compromised himself. 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 19, 18, 17. Lovely, he's going to get this start lovely. 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Gun, and they're away. All clear, I think. All clear, yeah. So a nice start from Richard Leonard and Bandit, and also Fulmar Fever at the other end of the line. But I think they're actually at the wrong end. That's my feeling. Raffles made up for last week. Lovely start. It'll be interesting to see now what happens as these guys make their way out of the harbour. I think we're going to follow them. I think that's our plan. So let's just motor forward a little bit, Margaret, here, and we'll just stay to leeward of that's it. That's a lovely speed there. Raffles looking really comfortable here. He knows this boat inside out. He's got the perfect sail plan. He's got 3 or 4 rolls in the Genoa, full main. The boat looks lovely and balanced, and she is just trucking. Would obviously benefit from some new North sails, but I got to say that, aren't I? I mean, you expect me to say that. But the boat balance looks just lovely. And that's what it's all about in these conditions. As the breeze starts to increase, it's just all about keeping the boat balanced. Look at the helm. Tiller straight in the middle of the boat. Boat's not struggling. Sails are nice and still. And the boat's just trucking along. Really nice work. Here's Sean Hanley and Lewis making their way out of the harbour. Not the best start in the world, but they're looking nicely balanced. Mainsail setting up quite nicely there. Could carry possibly a little bit more runner, but yeah, mainsail's looking a bit full in that puff, so a little bit more runner. Try and get that angular heel slightly more under control. Otherwise looking quite good. We've got Bandit in front of us here, Richard Leonard. Can't see if it's Richard driving or not, but the guys just noticed the camera and now they're hiking a little bit harder, so we love that. We like a little bit of hiking for the camera. And the Mighty Cracker. Not the best start, I don't think. I didn't actually see you cross the line, Dennis, but trim is looking good. Probably a little bit more jib halyard if you could get it. On the number 3, boat's looking balanced. You might be feeling a touch underpowered in here at the moment, but I think as you find your way out of the harbour, it's just going to get breezier and breezier. So nice to see you on the number 3. Boat balance looks good. I'm just looking at the rudder now, because it's all about balance. Sailing is very much balance related. Trying to get that relationship between mainsail and headsail. A little bit of weather helm, not too much. Puff coming on here, let's see how the boat responds to that. A little bit of extra helm. Now, looking up straight at the back of the slot here, as we are for Dennis now, I would suggest more main halyard, quite a bit more by the look of things. And when those gusts hit and the boat heels over and he has to use a lot of rudder, something needs to happen. So it could be backstay, could be traveller, could be main sheet. Now looking again, I don't know if you can see this on the camera, but the kicker is quite loose. And every time these gusts come, the boat heels a lot. Now nothing has happened here in that gust. Traveller could have gone down a good amount, and that would have helped him a lot. So, Dave Doyle and team on Musketeer. I think Dave's away this week, but we're looking at the number 3. So 3DI Nordac sail. It's looking quite okay. Needs a little bit more jib halyard. The mainsail is quite deep, and they need a good chunk of backstay on there, I would say. Out haul is a little bit loose as well, and if we go look at the top of the rig, the mainsail is quite shy of the black band. So there's a whole pile of things there that would really help the trim of the mainsail. The jib trim is probably a little soft. Well, I don't know, it's hard to say. No, the trim is okay. Just needs more halyard on the jib. Oh, big gust. Yeah, this is what we've got, more of this to come, I think, as the day goes on. Just the breeze is going to gradually increase, and this is going to be a tough race. It's going to be a good day for sailmakers, I'd say. Across the 1720 course, and there is 50 seconds to go. Just nudge her forward a little bit, Margaret, please. 44 seconds to go. The guys are a little bit line shy, I would have thought. Okay, Margaret, that's good. Maybe turn right a little. Just look down the line, James. Just pan down to the line, 30 seconds, and then pan back to the fleet. 26, 25, 24, 23. A lot of excitement down at this end. It's all quite crowded at the pin. 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13. There's Harry Durkin. He's hoping to get in at this end. I think he's going to do it. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Lovely start from Harry. 5, 4. North sails leading off the line. 1, and they're away. Nice start, Harry Durkin. Just keep following the fleet now. Okay, Margaret, if we follow them up and go across the back of them, I think, because they may be tacking fairly soon. Yeah, there's one tacked already. Okay, can't beat one design sailing. This is where there's nowhere to hide. You're either competitive or you're not, and if you're not competitive, you just need to work with your team and figure out how to find your way to the front. 20s approaching the top mark. Can't quite see who's leading. Maybe it's Gary Rhodes. Need to turn right a little bit, Margaret, please. We're drifting onto the course. I can't see who's on the helm. Oh no, it's Bobby Nash. Okay, well done, Bobby. And David on the helm. So Evolution Racing just whipped around there. Very close. That's Anthony. I'm not sure who's driving, but then there's Harry Durkin next. Spinnaker sets are all quite slow here. Nobody's got their spinnaker up very timely, but the leader has, and he's away. There's Johnny on T-Bone with his dad in the team. Brian Toomey going for the hoist. Okay, let's watch T-Bone, the red spinnaker, James. There's plenty of breeze here today. Oh, okay. That all set very quickly, but they're a very good driver. Get the boat nicely under control. Okay, here's Heroes and Villains. Let's turn left on them. These guys are quite seasoned competitors in this class. A little bit slow getting to the top, but it's up there. One of the things with the 1720, you've got to be very careful that the tack doesn't go into the water on the hoist, but their jib is pretty loose now, so it's going to make it awkward to get the tack line out. Yeah, oh, they've got a problem with the pole as well. Okay, so let's cut back to the windward mark. We've got, this is the under 25 team, I'm guessing. They're very new to this. They don't have a lot of hours in the boat. And it's pretty breezy, so this is a proper test for them. And we'll follow them down, Margaret, if that's okay. We'll just follow this one down about the same sort of distance away we are. I don't know if they're going for the spinnaker. No, they're not. I think they're going to play in it safe. It's pretty breezy, and it's probably a wise precaution. Okay, this is William Toomey, J70. Interesting, actually, the 1720s have got a lot of distance on these guys on the upwind. 1720, very efficient machine. Very efficient machine. Oh, this is a windward hoist, is it? Yeah, okay, so that was a windward set. I don't know if they realised it was a windward set. But they're going to have to jibe. Oh dear. Okay, we need to talk about this. This is really good, actually. So we need to get the guys into the debrief, because there's some specific techniques required for the windward hoist, and they haven't been used here, but they might get away with this. Let's just wait and see. They're lucky it's going to pop, but it's so twisted in the head at the moment. They're probably not going to get it without easing the halyard. Oh, there they go. Okay, they've got it now. J70 is very much like a dinghy, and it's currently acting like one. Anyway, well done, lads. You're off. Okay. Top mark with the 1720s. It's very hard to keep up with these guys today. They're flying around the track. But the bottom mark, or the first jibe, I should say, saw some fairly serious place changing. And I think now we've got Harry and Johnny Durkin in the fold here. And that, I think that's Brian Toomey. His overlap with Johnny on the approach. Now we've got to be very careful here how I position the boat so they don't come on board and say hello. So let's see what we can do here. See if we can keep Margaret's boat in one piece. Now, here they go. It's pretty awkward hoisting a 1720 spinnaker in this sort of breeze. Okay, the big turn down. And now it's all about getting the spinnaker in the air without putting the tack in the water. James, you'll have to swap sides now, I think, so you can keep up with the angle. Very slow on the hoist here. I don't know what's going on. The leader has not put his spinnaker up. He's got a problem. He must have dropped his in the water, or something has happened. He's not flying. So this is an opportunity for Brian Toomey in the dark side, blue spinnaker. He should just take this race. Brian's done a lovely set. No one else with their spinnaker in the air. Harry Durkin compromised. Johnny no spinnaker at all, going for the straight line. So come on, Brian, let's get her arced up. Speed on. Just focus on the blue spinnaker, James. Brian's coming towards us now. He's getting a bit of pace on. Fantastic boat to sail, the 1720 in this sort of breeze. Really nice Tony Castro design, big spinnaker, and they really get going. Here they go, a little bit of pressure on. Now they're settled. Brian can arc her up a little bit, with a bit of speed on. Here we go. Margaret might tell me off now if I go too quick, but it's going to be hard to stay up with Brian anyway, I think, no matter what we do. He's flying a combination of sails. I think that looks like an old North spinnaker he's using. He's doing the business at the moment. All he has to do is sail down here, pull off one nice jibe, and he's going to win this race by a country mile. Jibing the 1720, big turn, but they've done nicely here to just get that spinnaker flying again and they get speed on. Okay, here we go. We've got Harry Durkin's got his spinnaker going, and so's Johnny. I don't know what. Oh, Johnny's gone for the small spinnaker. Be interesting to see what will happen here because he's gone straight down the middle of the track. So we go on to, let's film on to Harry now, 1804, James. Harry's really trucking. He's got to get his jibe angle right. He pulls off a smooth jibe here, he'll be second for sure. So here he goes. Got to get the clue of the spinnaker around nice and quickly. Slow turn, flick the main over, and away they go. Oh, a lot of hesitation. Main boom's still not over, but they've done it. Being a good dinghy sailor, just kept the boat on angle there until he was ready. But Brian Toomey is off into the distance, and really he's going to win this race by a good bit, I think. Johnny and Harry coming together. We've got Johnny Durkin with a small spinnaker on starboard, going absolute flat chat. Harry's just holding low to get behind him. Oh. And he's got behind him, and if Harry's on ley line, which he looks like he might be, this will be very interesting now. Johnny's going further than he really needs to, but he's only got the small spinnaker, so he hasn't got the full power. But I'm looking down the line of Brian Toomey. He's going to lay here, no problem at all. These guys are having a great day. So here we go at the bottom mark. Brian Toomey making a nice job of the drop. Sailed that leg very well. There's Harry going for the takedown. Johnny's coming. I think Johnny sailed a bit low actually. He's gone too far. Yeah, so he's out of it. Brian Toomey is going to win this race. Just stay on Brian there. James. Here comes Brian. Fairly tidy drop. Harry might get to the inside. He does. This will be interesting now. Got a couple of very experienced teams here. I think Brian should have the upper hand. He's got Harry in his dirty air. Where's the finish line? Yeah, Brian's doing the right thing. I think he just needs to keep coming. Just stay on him there, James. I think he's got, I don't know if that's a big jib or a small jib. Oh, it's the big jib, but there's a lot of wind now. Very hard to keep these boats under control in this amount of breeze. You really need to be on the small jib if they could, but they can't switch. Okay, tacking now. Just got to sail through the finish line. Sounds very simple from where we are. Not so easy where they are. So we missed the finish, unfortunately, for Brian, but well done, Brian Toomey. Harry Durkin second, and this is Johnny, I think, on the T-bone, coming through third. Some big changes on the downwind. Really is all about the spinnaker handling in this sort of breeze. So here we have near Largo, safely back in the harbour after about 26 miles at sea. I would suggest that this breeze and the course would have suited this boat absolutely down to the ground. They're flying the heavier of the two spinnakers they carry on board, or two symmetric spinnakers. Balance looks good. The boat trim looks pretty nice actually. Pole height looks good. The two clews are pretty level. All looks really quite nice. Be really interesting to see who comes around the corner next, but these guys are a long way ahead. Getting nicely prepared early for the takedown. Jib's gone up nice and early here, like super early, which is great. They're on a quite a sort of nearly not quite beam reach, but broad reach. So there's no compromise here. Putting the jib up nice and early. is not going to upset the spinnaker trim in any way. We've got James on the bow, James Fagan, orchestrating things. Got Ian getting nice and active there on the backstay. I can't see Anne-Marie. She's probably getting ready to pack that spinnaker again. Oh no, I see Anne-Marie now, I think, in the middle of things. So the guys are so far ahead, there's absolutely no need to do any high-risk manoeuvres here. But let's see. Actually, just notice the jib is trimmed on now. It might be a little bit firm. Let's see if the spinnaker gets any more unstable. Because like we've said all along, for the whole, for last week's debrief and this week, you know, you've got to be very careful with the jib trim. Now that's nicer actually. Somebody's eased the jib. The spinnaker suddenly is much more stable. And you know, the whole lot should be a lot easier to trim. But when it comes to the drop in a moment, we're going to stay on them. We're just going to make this a relatively long clip. We can chop some bits out when we get back if we don't like it. But when it comes to the drop, in a perfect world, that jib would actually get wound in hard and act as a blanket for the spinnaker. Now that's a very graphic display of the main luff tension. I think the main luff is a little tight. They're actually over the black band. So it would be, if I was on board there, I'd like to knock that halyard off just a little bit. Wind has gone quite soft now. Ah, yeah. Okay, so we're off Camden, traditionally where the wind just disappears and it's done what it normally does. Okay, so they've gone for the early drop. They've let the gear run. I think the wind has actually gone quite a bit ahead. Yeah, it's forward of the beam now, looking at their Windex. So a nice safe drop through the letterbox. Spinnaker's gone away. Anne-Marie, you have to get very active now, getting that spinnaker back in the bag, but it's not going to be required again. These guys, oh, here comes the next competitor, I think, coming around the corner. So these guys have really got a massive lead. Approaching number 5 now at pace. The wind has really gone forward as soon as they got clear of Camden. Tide is really flying into the harbour, so it's going to be taking them, whipping them straight past. So here they go, they're on the breeze. Looking good, heavy jib. Sailing for home. Short little beat across the harbour and they'll be home and dry. I imagine they'll win this race by a very solid margin, but let's see. Okay, this is David Marchant. We shouldn't be surprised really to see Flyover in the lead because we saw all their sail handling last week. Sailed really very well. Difficult buoy to get around this number 5. The approach angle is such that the current is really sweeping you past. So not that well prepared, not that tidy. Looking a little bit out of sorts for the marching team. Fulmar Fever. They're approaching the leeward mark at pace here. They've had a long time to get this ready. So let's get it down. They're going to be doing what my friend Morris likes to call the flyby if they're not careful. Well, the spinnaker's half down. Let's see. These guys did well last week. Had a pretty nice result. Yeah, the spinnaker's down. Mainsail needs to come on fairly rapidly if it can. And then they can start making their way across to the shelter of the bank and then up into the harbour. The wind has actually gone a little bit more to the north than it was when they started this race. So the guys are around safely on their way. A little bit of string dangling over the side, be nice to tidy that up, but all in all, not bad. Jelly Baby, going for the takedown. They're going for a leeward drop by the look of things. Could really trim the jib on hard now, and that would help, but they look like they've got it under control. Plenty of hands on the foredeck. It's interesting because an offshore race like this, or a long coastal, there's great periods of inactivity and you can easily forget the routine when it comes to the takedown because you haven't done one. Maybe this is their only takedown or second takedown of the day. It's not quite like the windward leeward racing. So, still 4 bodies on the foredeck approaching the market speed here. We really need to get the pole away. Cry of skirt from on board here. Now this is great. We've got lots of bodies lined up on the side. Looks like plenty of backstay on. Lots of tide, but young Kian, well used to that. He's cut the buoy very nicely and they're on the upwind. A lot of overbend wrinkles in the mainsail there. I remember that sail, that's a little bit shy and luff curve, that one. Always was from the word go. And a lot of mast bend on, but it's breezy, so you need the backstay to make the headstay stand. But a pretty nice rounding, and there's a lot of bodies on the side there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11 bodies on the boat today, I think. No harm in all that breeze, but look at the mainsail trim, really interesting. Just probably need a little less backstay or a slightly tighter rig, tighter forestay. Cut down some of the bend in that mast and the sail would be a little bit happier. This is Enchanter from Kinsale, and land 40. Very early takedown, which is great. No reason to leave it up too long. And there's so much current around this buoy. As you can see on number 5 there, there's probably 2.5, maybe even 3 knots of current running there. It's absolutely hosing into the harbour. So a nice turn. I'm not sure who's driving. Probably Brian. Nice turn. Lots of backstay on there already. Mainsail just needs to get wound on hard. Get the boat hammering for home. There's plenty of wind actually. We had a small lull. The wind kicked a little bit more to the north and now it's back again. Very strong, very gusty, especially over on the bank. So you need to be ready. The breeze has really kicked to the north here as they're coming into the harbour. So the opportunity to fly a spinnaker all the way into number 5 is gone now. Helmsman today on Coracle. The Collins boys are away, involved in other sailing this week. So we've got Barry Rose, and hopefully after today Barry will get tempted and he'll be back with his own boat. So it's time to get this spinnaker down, boys. It's starting to get tighter and tighter as you come into the harbour here. It's a big spinnaker, as we know, on this boat, and if I was them, I think I'd be considering getting that down fairly soon. Kinsale, they're managing to fly their spinnaker into the harbour. Looking quite good. Good bunch of young lads on there. Spinnaker a little bit over trimmed right now. Going to need to start preparing to get that down. There's a load of breeze and a lot of current bringing you back into the harbour. Here's Rhea Leyden, a little bit of right turn, James. We've got Rhea taking it very handy, very steady, very wise, because it's very gusty now, especially on this last leg to the finish. Okay, if we look back out the harbour now, it's all looking a little bit empty, so I think we're going to turn right and head to the finish line. Coming back into the harbour, Coracle probably going to come into shot in a second here. 2 of these boats, I'd say, have been enjoying a good race all around the track. Interestingly now, looking at Ronan's forestay, it looks pretty soft. A little bit of a dip on there. And the team, very gusty, nicely under control over the number 3. Possibly do with a little bit more backstay. Each of the mainsails working. Rig looks a little soft, jib halyard a little bit soft, and probably a little bit of leech line needed on the mainsail, but the boat balance looks good. There's not too much fighting of the helm, but in these conditions it's always good to have the leech and foot lines nice and firm, and it helps keep the sail stable.